What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Champion Living Podcast, the only podcast crossing the lines between the sport of rodeo and fitness and nutrition. And today, we're talking all about equipment, and I am fired up. We've got Tim Tippmann on the show, the owner, operator, the OG of Beastmaster Rodeo. How are you, brother?
Good. You guys?
We're doing really good. We're
Good.
doing really
Excellent.
good.
Excellent.
Boys, how are you?
Excited to be back, man.
I've been doing these
Almost
episodes by
forgotten how to do this.
myself. It's like I don't even know
What do I do with my
yeah,
hands?
where are we? It's crazy. Had to have
We
you
get
guys
to
back
kick it
on
off with
too.
Tim.
I know. I'm so stoked that we get to chat about Beastmaster, and the listeners have heard the ad every single time they've listened to the show. So it's really awesome to have you on, get a face with the brand, and get to
Sure.
hear about you guys. I was just talking to someone about you guys today, and I was saying that Tim, everyone, a million people have the idea. No one goes and does the idea. Tim has the idea in literally a minute and does the idea in the next minute. And it just keeps going and going and going. So it's crazy how many things that you guys have available to the rodeo athlete, and not just the athlete, the contractor, just the everyday person that rides horses or whatever it is in the Western world.
Well, we took on the phrase raising the standards, and it's literally been 10 years of exactly that. There's not a product in rodeo that we haven't sat down at the table, looked at, and said, how are we going to make it better? How has the times changed that it needs to change with the times? There's literally not a product out there we haven't done that to. And then on top of that, we went into what else do they need that's not even available. There's still items out there that people make themselves just because they need it, and they're on my list. I have a long list of new products, some coming out, some are a little further down the line. But I remember fifth grade was my first year I was allowed to play tackle football. And when I got my equipment, man, I fussed with it every day. When that equipment were on, it was perfect. It was just how I was. And I always wanted a perfect fit. And when I got into rodeo, it was the same thing. It had to be a perfect fit. It had to be a quality. I learned how to, fix my own equipment because, well, frankly, there really wasn't any choices back then. So I've always been about equipment. This has just always been in me. And so I just love doing it. I just love it.
You talked about just right there. What is your experience in rodeo? You have experience yourself in rodeo, but you also have been raising a long line of rodeo athletes as well.
Yes.
So, can you just kind of talk to us a little bit about your roots and where you come from? And
I wanted to be in rodeo, but I did not come from a rodeo family. And when I was 17 and had a vehicle, I set out to rodeo. Didn't know anyone, didn't know a thing about nothing. I met some guys that said they'd help me out, and I would drive to their place on the weekends. And I hunted up equipment. So most of my equipment came from these pawn stores and things of that nature. But it's kind of funny when you don't have somebody to show you and you have to figure it out yourself. It takes a little longer, but you actually learn it better. And I think that that was kind of a big help to me. So, I did my rodeo career being a not from a rodeo family. Rodeo really is generational. It takes a generation almost, depending on who your coaches are and who you're with. But so my kids, I had taught myself quite a bit, and I have 11 children, all of whom have rodeoed and still do. And every event in rodeo we do. So when Beastmasters came up for sale, it just hit me like a glove. I literally bought it on the phone about 5 minutes after he said he'd sell it. That's how long it took me to buy it, about 5 minutes. And I couldn't wait to get it home and start going through the products. And that's what I've been doing ever since. So yeah, that's what my background kind of looks like. It's got some self-teaching, and it's also got pro level teachers that I went to. But when you have to learn yourself, you figure things out different. And that's, I think, an edge for me.
man, that's a really cool story. We're gonna have you on for another episode about mental toughness. 11 children. Holy crap! You have got to be the most mentally tough person that we know, and you tackle everything. So with a smile on your face. When we came to visit you guys last year and got to see all the new things you were lining out, and that's what I want to talk about next and get into and sorry, we kind of favor the bareback riders, but I want to get into the bareback riding stuff first.
Yeah.
You have so many moving parts there, and Beastmaster Rodeo is not your only thing. You probably have 11 other businesses.
We do.
you always have a smile on your face. You're always like up tempo, getting things done, and it's just contagious. So it's cool to see that in person. Let's kind of dive into the Pro Gel line first, because
We
that's,
got that right here.
for me, that was the most exciting thing. And Logan's probably
Yeah.
the same as me.
Yeah, the Pro Gel line, we wanted out for a long time. The problem that took us so long was actually finding the correct and right gel we wanted. And then that company also had to have the ability to get it to us in different thicknesses and different ways. The big holdup on the gel pad really was sourcing the material. But now that we've got the material sourced correctly, the easy stuff was the handle pads, the tail pads. Those were the easy things. We knew we wanted a neck roll for everybody. This has been a great product. It too has the gel impact in it. This this was a long time coming also because it had so much that goes into your neck. It's not just protection, it also helps you ride. It also controls your head. You can watch your hand, you can watch your feet. A lot went into this neck roll, and the impact gel had to be part of it. It just had to be.
What is the
This is
point of
our
impact
biggest.
gel, Tim?
Well, the point of the impact gel is to spread out any compression. So when you have a compression like that, the idea is to take it from a small point to a big, and that's what the impact gels do. They hit in the center and then they disperse it. So, if you got hit by the end of a hammer, it hurts. But if that hammer was 6 inches round, it's more of a smack than a hit. So that's what impact gel does. And it plays a big part in road, believe it or not.
I mean, instantly when you say that, it makes sense to me why that would be very, very useful. And, we talk about controlling the things that you can, right? And there's a lot in the sport you cannot control, but equipment is number one. You can control every piece of your equipment.
Yeah.
And if you can get equipment that is also going to help mitigate injury potentially, for me, it's a no-brainer on the investment.
Yeah.
One thing about the neck roll too, and Logan, I'll let you kind of go into this, but I like the design is so much different than anything else you're seeing out there that's mass produced on the neck roll side, because of the break in the middle. Like, it doesn't allow the neck to hyperextend, right?
Right.
Can you chat about that, Logan? Like, why that's important as a rider, and then we'll let Tim talk about. I know you guys did a lot of research, talk to sports med and all that
Yeah.
too. So, go ahead, Logan.
That's the biggest thing I see. I see a lot of homemade neck rolls, and so I had Justin Sportsmed make mine, and then we made a belt for it. I was sick of the straps on a neck roll, like cutting you in half and popping cartilage
Ribs.
on, when you tie it off, man, it would get super sore. And so we made this neck roll, and I just see so many
familiar?
young guys using. Yeah, that's
Logan played a big part in the design of the belt and the neck.
That thing's sweet.
I donated my neck roll for science. They dissected it and broke it down. The neck roll is one of the most important pieces of equipment, and it blows my mind how many people are like, "Hey, how do I make a neck roll?" I'm like, "You don't. You go to Beastmaster and you buy one. There's no way. You're not playing with your cervical spine, dude. This isn't a joke. This is the real deal. You go buy a good one."
Yep.
Yeah. And that's kind of, everybody being different. And, like the pouch on the back, there's a plastic support that you can shape to you. But it's been successful. This has been a successful product. A lot of products take a little time for the market to understand and to get their mind around. This product kind of sold itself in a lot of ways. It's been a really good product. As far as I know, it's one of maybe only 2 neck rolls that you can purchase for the rodeo industry. So, yeah, we're really, really happy with this product. The R&D that went into it was a lot of work, but definitely a good product for sure.
Man, it's awesome. So it disperses the impact. I have seen, and I have numerous buddies that are pickup men that I've seen break their leg getting kicked.
Yeah.
And I know you guys have, you're not just looking after just the athlete. We're talking about contract personnel. And I know you've made kick pads with impact gel in them.
Yeah. This
Talk
is the
about those.
impact.
Those are sweet.
Yeah, this is
And
the
they look
impact
cool.
gel. One nice thing about this particular kicker is you don't have to break it in, mold it, and do all that stuff. It's kind of a formed fitting deal. The impact gel in here is a little bit different. It's not as gushy. It's called an air impact. So it's kind of the same material, but it has small little air bubbles in it that let it be a little firmer of a product. And so with these guys, like the hoof of a horse, the front of the hoof of a horse, it's so narrow that a horse could kick an impact gel and cut it. So we had to come up with an impact gel that could take that really sharp type hit. And that's what the air impact does for us. So yeah, that has been a good product. I got to show you the new one coming out though. This product was invented by me and for me. So I started doing a lot of hazing. I'd go to the youth rodeos. I had some pretty good haze horses, and people started asking me to haze a lot. And then, of course, my boys at Stirrups, so I was hazing at home. And until you get hit in the shin by a horn, it's hard to describe the pain. I mean, you really want to cry, but you're in the arena, so you don't. But it's really bad. So I went to the shop. I had a few rodeos coming up on the weekend. Friday morning, I ran to the shop and I grabbed a piece of leather and I started making myself a shin guard. I had such a bad bruise from the week before. That's evolved, obviously. Ironically, the funny part was the first one I ever made, I made for my right leg, not even thinking, because, well, you don't even wear it on your right leg. This product's coming out in about 3 weeks. This is a Hazer shin guard. I don't know if I'm the only one that bashes your shin on their darn horns, but I can't be alone in this. I made one and then we made this and it came out pretty nice. It looks really nice. It's a quick connect because these guys change really quick. But this is going to roll out in a couple of weeks and that's our new product. And it too wears the air impact gel. So that's pretty exciting.
That's so sweet, man. That's super cool.
Impact
I don't
gel.
know about you, Logan. Paul, you probably done the same rodeo, and that may be the worst thing that I hate.
Yeah.
But that impact gel, I switched to that after I did it to myself. Obviously, someone was like, hey, you should try that." And back then, Tim, we had to just go literally buy a sheet of impact gel and cut it out ourselves,
Right.
and then sew it into the leather ourselves. It worked, but it was not as crisp as what you guys have put together.
Right.
Are you seeing that? Those have been out for a little bit of time now.
Yeah.
A good response on
Yeah,
those
we got a
products?
good response. The impact gels have been good. It makes products more expensive, but I think Beastmaster has got a pretty trustworthy name that they're willing to try our products. And I think that's kind of been part of our success. But the impact gels have been successful on every level. They've been good for us.
Paul, can you talk about why a bull rider would want?
Yeah, well, really, the thing that stood out for me, so,
Like
back
my
in the
bull
spring when we were up there visiting, I got to check out the bull pad, and the bull pad is such a small thing, and you don't really realize how bad you want it until it's time. And now there's regulations on certain styles of ropes and stuff that you need a bull pad on your rope. But, I remember for me, as a kid, used one right out the gate, some type of pad. It was always like kind of hard finding the one that you actually liked. And then I remember there was a stint there in college where I just couldn't find one that I liked where my rope sucked down on it good. And, I think I took like a little bit of sheepskin and, just taped it on there. And that was all I was using for a while. Well, get on enough bulls like that and you get some pretty severe knuckle damage from the braided rope getting, running your knuckles over it over and over again. And the thing that stood out to me most about the impact gel for the bull rope pad was how low profile it is in the knuckle section. Like where it goes over the rope and you can still fit your hand in the rope. You still get that same fit that you're looking for. But then now you have, instead of running your hand over braided rope or the bull's spine, you've got this low profile gel that your knuckles are going to make contact with. And that's going to, it's hard to explain the pain until you've been there. But like when your knuckles swell up so big, like I've got permanent damage on mine now, you can't close your hand. And if you can't close your hand around a loose bull rope,
Yeah.
So the sooner you can get to using like that impact gel and that you have that low profile, it's going to save your knuckles and you're going to ultimately extend your career just because you're going to be able to maintain your grip, from having such a silly injury that's really self-inflicted.
Do you think it helps the bull at all?
Yeah, for sure. The bull rope pads, they've done a lot of, I don't know if you would want to call it research or what, but there's definitely different camps on how a bull rope will fit on a bull's back, especially the different styles of American versus Brazilian, different block styles, different riser styles, and where the rope is placed and whether that affects the bull and how they perform or not. There's enough, guys with anecdotal evidence that would say that, yeah, there's for sure something to that. And so having a quality pad underneath that, again, is low profile, so it's not going to change the structure of your rope too much. It's going to make the bull buck better, which is better for you because you get better points. And then again, under the knuckle pad, you've got more protection for your hand. It's a good fit all the way around.
Perfect.
Yeah,
Sorry,
Paul's exactly right on all of that. In the beginning, before we had the gel pack, we had helped several injured cowboys with different gel that we would put in one of our bull pads. It wasn't something that we were rolling out on the market yet, but from an injury standpoint, we had been playing with impact gel to help cowboys recover and be able to ride still and use impact. The side effect of the impact gel that we didn't quite realize would have such an impact was when your knuckles form into the impact gel, and each knuckle was forming separately, and they're different sizes, you have this built-in mountain range. But there's also, we have found that it actually helps your grip and it actually helps your ride. The impact gel in a bull pad has both sides going for it. It does improve your ride and it does help your health. So it's kind of a no-brainer in bull ride.
So it sounds like it almost creates like a bind in a bareback rigging, but without, it's not going to have quite that same hold, but like you still kind of get that little bit of, because it's leather on leather at that point, and it's not, leather on sheepskin or leather on, whatever other material they use for a rope pad. You have quality leather underneath your glove, and it's just going to create a better bond.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's been really successful. And anytime you can get something that's better for you and helps you ride, you always win.
Absolutely. You just talk about bull ropes for a minute. I know you guys do bull ropes. Can you chat about?
We do a lot of bull ropes.
That's what I mean. So like, you do youth ropes as well, don't you?
Yeah, we have the steer, the junior bull.
Okay.
We've spent a lot of time recently on the Brazilian rope, Brazilian American. That whole debate. That's a whole show in itself. So we'll let that go. For us, we have spent a lot recently to make sure that the Brazilian rope is up to par. I'd say a few years back, we were probably not as familiar with Brazilian ropes as we are today. We've had a lot of help from Josh Frost and Joe Frost in the development and making sure that this Brazilian rope is top tier. That's something that's happened over the last year or so that we're really happy with the Brazilian. The American's always been a great rope, but we were a little naive in Brazilian in the beginning. Now we've got an outstanding Brazilian rope.
Is everything stock, or can people order a custom rope from you?
Yeah, we still have the custom out there. It's funny that our stock ropes have become so good that our custom rope industry has gotten smaller. We see a lot more
It's a good sign.
I'd say that's a compliment.
Yeah, it means you're doing something right. So we still do them, and we will do them forever. There's always going to be people that need certain things, but our stock ropes have become so good that we have way less customs than we used to.
I think the best compliment you get for a piece of equipment like that is consistent when you're repeating that process over and over, right? Like, I know a lot of guys are going through issues with Riggings right now, being anything but consistent. Go through 5 or 6 of them to find one that's even similar to the one that they like. And that's a problem at the end of the day.
It is.
But when only so many people are making them, it's like, what are you going to do, right? So you've got to just kind of bite the bullet and move on. But for a bull rider like that, to me, that's the biggest thing you could look for in a piece of equipment is the consistency and being able to get the same thing over and over, because eventually the equipment will break down. That's another thing with the neck rolls. I was just talking to my brother, and he has a neck fusion. Obviously, rodeo's full time. It's the end of the season. He was getting some stingers down his arms, and his arms were almost going numb. And the doc said his neck's fine. His neck looks great. But his neck roll had just broken down a little bit, and so it was letting that neck hyperextend a little bit further than he had thought. Well, he hadn't even thought about that, right? And that's a veteran. That's someone that's been to 10 NFRs.
Yeah.
If he's missing that sometimes, I guarantee a lot of these younger athletes are definitely missing that. How many of you guys are riding in your buddy's neck roll that he put 150 head in already before that? How many of you guys went and got the pool noodle at Sports Academy or whatever and threw a sleeve around it and you're riding with that? It's like, man, that is not helping the longevity part of this. And we've talked about this on the show a billion times, but if you want to be around in rodeo, you got to find the longevity in this, and you've got to figure out how to be around for a long time, or else it's going to be a hot flash.
It's funny you say that, because I think the number one thing that is overused is the bull rope. They are used until they are dead. And they're really not that expensive when you're going down the road and it costs you $400 just to get to a rodeo. Your rope is not very expensive. I am sure that in rodeo, the number one worn out piece of equipment that we see the most at rodeo is a bull rope. And they really need to not take them to that level.
I know Josh carries more than one. Do you know how many he carries at one time, Paul or Tim Frost?
I think close to.
Yeah, I was gonna say I don't remember exactly, but I know it's more than 3.
Yeah. It's
Okay.
more than two.
Is that something as a, this kind of more tailored towards Paul, I guess, on the question, but from the athlete standpoint, I had this aha moment when I was thinking about gear earlier today. I was thinking about hunting gear and my boots, and my boots cost me $350. And at the end of the day, I'm like, what am I happy with? I'm renting these boots because they are going to go away. And I thought $1 a mile I'd be stoked with. I'm at almost 400 miles in these pair of boots that I have. They cost me $350. I'm like, dude, that was a win. When it comes to the bull riding, it's like, okay, it costs you, how much does a bull rope cost? I'm sorry, I'm naive with the bull riding stuff.
Full safety.
Okay, $450. It's like, if that wins you close to $1,000 each time, we got to think about the investment. You're putting this money into your business, right, to get the money back. If you're like $400 is too much, it's like, okay, but if you have a shitty bull rope, what are your odds of actually riding right now?
Yeah.
They're
Or
probably
driving
not
to the
near as-
rodeo, paying the entry fee. You know, you got $300 or $400 in it, and your rope fails you.
Exactly.
There's a lot of that. I mean, there's nothing that just pierces my heart more. I was at the finals for a smaller association over here last year, and a young kid had a nice bareback ride started and busted a Latigo, and I just cringed. I thought, how can you come to the
That should
finals and
never
not
really
check your
happen.
ladder? I mean, that is wrong. To me, that's like a sin. You know, it
Yeah.
should just never happen. You know.
Logan, do you have
I
something
think
to say?
well, a lot of guys' mindsets, especially with the bull rope, is like, oh well, next check I win, like I'll go get a new bull rope. But like the reality of it is like you've got to invest in that first to make sure that you actually win that next check. And so like the way it goes is like, okay, well next time I win a check, I'll get a new bull rope. And then you buck off 3-4 in a row, you're blaming your bull rope because it's not up to par, and you never end up making the investment into a new one because you're not riding good enough to get one. So you got to take a step back, maybe not go to those 3 or 4 rodeos, save that entry fee money, buy you a new dang rope or 2 or 3 so that you've got some options to when you show up and the weather's not right. And then you're consistently winning the rest of the year. And so like you got to have that little bit of delayed gratification of like, let's up the equipment now. Let's reinvest in equipment now so that the rest of the year goes smoothly. Not let's fight all year to hopefully maybe get new equipment at the end of the year.
Yeah, that's such a good point.
It's very true. We see it a lot.
Yeah, I think you go to any amateur rodeo association rodeo, you pull up and you could probably pull out a good handful of them that are doing that, right?
Yeah.
And it's just it's a mindset thing at that point. It's a growth versus fixed mindset. Most of them are not to be rude, but like they're stuck in a fixed mindset. That's where they want to be. They don't want to go any further, and they're cool doing it, and there ain't nothing wrong with that. But if you're an athlete that wants to take your game to the next level, you have to think that way. And the equipment is how you get your job done. So you have to plan with it, and you have to have a strategy with it.
Yeah, it's one of the only things you really can control. And so you really need to control it to the point where it's not a thought. It's not anything you have to deal with at the moment.
Exactly. Hey, you mentioned Latigos. I don't know if you were in just conversation, I think a bit ago, but I know you guys have some new Latigos coming out, and then I want Logan to kind of chat about the importance of a Latigo for a bareback rider or a bronc rider and all that.
Well, our Latigo, well, the one thing that this is kind of funny. With this little piece right here, way more important than I ever gave it credit for. And I think over the last couple of years, it became more and more apparent. But anybody who's ever put a rigging on knows that when this becomes real noodle.
Can you just what is that piece, just for everyone that's not watching?
It's an extra stiffer piece of leather that's put on our tip, and this
so it's
will
the
let
end of
you,
the end of the Latigo.
End of the Latigo. This will let you to force that under that D ring when you're
Logan, you know about that pain?
Oh, dude.
I've never been so mad in my life as I have with things.
You know,
I know those things. At the NFR.
That's good. That's good. Yeah. So, Latigos, it's about the quality of leather. So, all of our Latigo leather and our all of this leather has been handpicked for the quality. There's nothing that I cringe more about than a broken Latigo during a ride. That's just, to me, should never happen. So that and the little things, these darn little things, and that little piece of leather right there just makes such a big difference. I do have another surprise coming out in the Latigo world that I'm not going to reveal really tonight yet, but I think that
How are you going to do that to us right now?
Yeah, I know.
What a tease.
Keep your eyes open because I think I have something really cool coming out in the Latigo Roughstock world. So
Heck yeah.
it's just a little tease.
It's a ratchet strap.
Yeah. Warm down.
It's the Brazilian.
Dude,
Brazil-
you want to talk about the maddest I've been in a hot minute was this summer. I help at a bunch of amateur rodeos over here, Judge. This kid shows up with a rigging from 1970 or something, and he's going to get on this bareback horse. And he didn't ask for my help, but you know me, I can't help myself. And he starts pulling his rigging, and it's like 6 inches behind the armpit, and I'm like, oh my gosh, this kid's going to die. I was like, do you mind if I help you? And he was like, no, that's fine. I was like, I rode bareback horses for long. He was like, okay. And so I go to pulling these Latigos, and these Latigos are approximately 1.5 inches wide. They are, and I was trying to help him pull both sides. Of course, I'm in the arena. They're doing the national anthem. And so I'm going to pull the back side, the side that he's on. And typically when I do that, run the Latigo outside the bucking chute and then up a rail and back in, right? And that just pulls the trajectory of the Latigo. It pulls it out and it will keep it from bubbling up. Right. So I've got this 1.5 inch wide, probably 6 foot long Latigo run through there. And I'm standing on the second to top rail of the bucking chute gate during the national anthem. And I give that thing a big heave ho because we're going to be late, and pop, it freaking snaps in half. And I felt like I flew 15 feet back into the arena, regardless of how far I went. I landed square on my tailbone in the arena in the middle of the national anthem, 7 feet away from 100 people. And I just sat there and I looked at that piece of Latigo and I was like, dude. And so anyway, whether it breaks when you're pulling it or it breaks during the ride, I've seen lots of guys that were about to win the rodeo, and next thing you know, it's treacherous when that breaks. All Latigos are not created equal. Making sure that you get good Latigos that are long enough. We like the extensions on them. We like 9 feet, typically speaking, because of the fact that you can get 3 wraps on everything you get on. And the more, you don't need 4. 4's bulky and in the way. But what I find is that with 3 wraps, they're going to pull easier, and it also displaces the tension. Mm-hmm. I mean, that rigging, those Latigos are tight. Your rigging's pulled down tight. It displaces the tension on another wrap. Mm-hmm. So that's not so hard on just 2 wraps. It's going to be a bear to pull, and your odds of them breaking are higher. So getting the long ones, you can get 3 wraps on a giraffe or a pony. You can get 3 wraps on everything if you get the long ones.
Yeah, and people are starting to kind of figure some of that out because our long Latigos, our 9s, have really, in the last couple of years, have gone up and up in sales. And I think it is important. I mean, we obviously still offer 8s, but the 9 is the premier choice for sure.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Absolutely. All right, a couple more Roughstock things I want to talk about, and then I want to get into all the other stuff that you guys do because that's, okay, like I said, it's really cool in the beginning. But Youth Bronc Saddle, tell me about it.
The Youth Bronc Saddle. So the Youth Bronc Saddle was
the one and only. There's no one else doing that.
I think there's one more out there, and then there's some backyard garage made things, So the Youth Bronc Saddle. Well, let me back up. The youth rig that I came up with 10 years ago was because there was mutton riggings, there was mutton ropes, there was calf ropes, there was stirrups. There was nothing for future horse riders, and it was killing our market. So when I originally rolled out the junior rigging and did everything I could to keep that affordable, so people had an option on Roughstock versus the kids' bull ropes and stuff. Well, I kind of did the same thing on the saddle. Well, my plan was to try to keep it as affordable as possible, but get them something they can legitimately use, ride, and learn in on the steers, which I'm a big fan of. I think steers are the right thing to learn. We have the ring to keep the croup working. You got to use a crooper on a steer to keep your saddle in position. The goal was to come out with a affordable saddle. Well, that kept evolving and the saddle got better and better. It's still as affordable as can be, but it turned into a really nice saddle over the years. I was at a couple of the larger youth deals this year, and there was a bunch of these saddles there. I was really proud to see that. So those kids that are making bigger youth rodeos, they're riding the saddle and having success.
And that's cool. I mean, you can just looking at it, it looks very well built. And It's cool, like you said, to have the option for kids now to have that, because there really was nothing that you could do unless you, like you said, make it in your own garage, or you have a guy who can make one for you, right? This is available to everyone though, and that just it changes the game for the sport. It gets kids into it, which is
you have to
All right.
give the kids
Go ahead.
and the youth and the amateurs, you have to give them as good of equipment as you're giving the pro level, because that's the only way they'll have success. And it's the only way they'll stay in the sport. And that's our whole goal, is to grow the sport. So you can't cheapen up on youth equipment. It's got to be as good.
I think in your mission, like you were just saying, to grow the sport of rodeo, you guys are doing so much more than that, and you're growing the whole Western way of life, the attention to it, and giving people the opportunity to get into, well, be around rodeo, but also if you just want to ride horses or just be around it, you guys have this entire line that you've created. And I know you created this for yourself at first, but it has turned into something huge. When we were there looking at the facility, you took me through the entire Tack section, and I was so impressed by the quality, and then the price is so affordable compared to a lot of places that I've been before.
Yeah. This youth saddle and these youth inside stirrup leathers, the youth inside stirrup leather was a hard development, because we went all the way to the adult quality, and then we had to bring it back to match the youth. So it had kind of a long evolution to get it to a usable item for the youth. They aren't as strong. The animals don't buck with the same intensity. So the youth inside stirrup leather actually took us quite a while to get right, because we had to kind of back off and re-engineer for their level. But we did, and we think it's a really good product also.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What about head stalls, things like that?
Let me see the Bronx. You got? Yeah, bring the bump over. Yeah. So, in the middle of everything, the bucket pump came in strong for a while there, and we never had as many bucking ponies as we did, and so that, in the evolution of this sport, that we had to go down that road. This is so cool to me. I mean, I think you should just hang it on the mirror in your car. That's how cool I think it is.
Little ones that do.
I know. Isn't that the coolest thing ever? And it's literally made like the big one. And once again, you cannot expect these kids to do what they're going to do later without good equipment. You just can't. But it's built exactly like our other halter. And where's the reins too?
Myself that all the time, Tim.
What's that?
I ask myself that same question all the time. Where are the reins?
Where are the reins?
Whoa, whoa.
So
Look, man, no hands.
this is obviously the most popular. This soft rope has been, I just can't tell you how big of a success this rein has been. But we have this for the juniors, the same rein. Once again, I mean, you got to take that mentality that they can't do it with pork either. So these have been a huge success. We have them for the juniors. We have those halters for the juniors. We have the good saddle for the juniors. And then our let me see those insides for the adults. So the inside strip leather for our adults. This evolution of this product is probably the strangest one of all. So I'll bet we've made 200 different pairs. That's not even exaggerating. And then we had this one material we had come across, and when we first saw it, we thought, I don't know about that. Maybe that's not for us. But we said, well, we'll try one anyhow. Man, it has been outstanding. This product, and when you see it not built in here, it's not very impressive, but it has such snap. And the odd part about this product is it has to be put in a certain direction, because one way is softer than the other, which I can't even tell you why it is, but it is. So honestly, this material was basically stumbled upon, but we did the work to make them. Not as thick as most out there, but yet it still has the same ability. It's got a longer life than most. This has been very successful for us. This evolution of this product has probably took us close to 7 years. That we trial and error, till we had something we really like. Right? These are impressive. The longevity of them is really impressive also. So it's just another one of those things that, you got to be a little bit bullhead. You can't just settle for, well, that's good enough. I want the best product I can make, and I can't settle. So it took 7 years, but we made it.
And that's super cool. Well, they're talking about stirrups. Let's talk about some boots.
Yeah.
Something really cool for Roughstock riders and boots, and just anyone who wants a good pair of boots. And we all have a pair.
This is the new
Actually, I don't
Ring.
have mine anymore because I donated them to a guy who really needed them.
Yeah. We have a set around.
You're welcome.
So here are the stirrups too. Yeah, I'm gonna talk about stirrups too. Do you have the new? Yeah, okay. Well, let's do the boots and stirrups at the same time because they really do go together. The traditional stirrup, still a great stirrup, still probably the number one seller. Although the new unibody is catching up. It's really surprising how different this feels on your saddle and on your foot. It looks the same. You got a bar, you got a loop. I mean, it looks the same, but it's not. It has a completely different feel on your foot. And the way it lays into the saddle, for some reason, this twists differently than this does on the leather.
What have you done differently with that
Well,
on the design?
Well, on the design, it's the two.
Because you're talking about components, right? That are there's 0 components to the right one thing.
Unibody. So this lets the leather use this corner. I don't know if you guys can see this corner.
That makes so much sense.
The leather can use that corner better on a unibody than it does on a traditional stirrup. And so it totally changes the feel around your foot. Like it totally changes it. So when it's in the boot, when it's laid in this boot, the bottom of the stirrups are the same, right? But this leather, the way this leather can twist and use this corner to its advantage, it just smooths it right across your leg. And it's really amazing that something that small can have that big an effect,
Now, Tim, I'd have to imagine too, with the unibody, just looking at it now, like I feel like that would have to have a longer lifespan too, wouldn't it?
I'll be honest with you. We tore these apart with hydraulic cylinders. They are about the same strength. We didn't have very much difference in the strength because actually the weakest part of the stirrup is actually this curve right here. You guys can see
Gotcha.
that's actually the weakest part of the stirrup. So the longevity didn't change too much. They're both super high quality and really hard to break. We get very few people that actually can break these. The only thing that gets broke is the saddle gets hung up or it catches the pipe on a crappy arena somewhere, that doesn't have very good panels, things like that. But the unibody completely changes how that stirrup and the stirrup leather wraps around your foot. Do we have the new adjustable outside stirrup leathers? Yeah, I'll show you this too.
It makes so much sense when you start thinking about just the mechanics of
we're on the same
engineering
subject.
of it.
So, when this is on and it wraps it around, it gets to use this inside corner with this leather here. Gets to use that corner and it lets it do a little more forming. Well, we're going to go a whole step further. Forever, this product from the buckle to the bottom was just one length for everybody. And it was shorter than what you're seeing here. Well, it's very firm when it's really short. So what we've developed is an adjustable outside stirrup leather. So with these holes here, you can lengthen or shorten from here to here, from the buckle to the bottom or the beginning of the stirrup, which lets you choose how you want this to wrap around your boot. Come here. Where how you want it to wrap around your boot. So this is a new product that I don't think a lot of people really understand what it is or what its advantage is. But this adjustable distance from here to here lets you really have more adjustment in your saddle and in your stirrup leathers that never existed before. They were always just one size fits all, but not anymore. This is a great product when you're really trying to develop that really good feel in your saddle. Great product right here.
So both the unibodies and those outside stirrup leathers, they're really taking the ease of movement up a notch
Yeah.
from where it's ever been before. And so there's less like restrictive, I don't
It
know all
allows
the
the
mechanics of
biomechanics of
bronc
the
riding,
body
but
to actually work correctly
exactly. That's
instead of
where I was
fight
going.
against it,
Exactly.
right?
Yeah.
I didn't even
Yep.
know that was an option. Well, obviously, it kind of really wasn't until now,
wasn't.
but to
Yeah.
get the different points of contact, depending on how you want your foot to lay in there and you want the stirrups to fit, right? I've never messed with the bronc saddle that often, so I wouldn't know that. But I wonder how many amateur bronc riders, beginning guys that are green still, that's a huge part of being able to get a hold of an animal and to ride correctly. And, we do these schools all the time and we see it the first day at least, somebody is too short or too long in their stirrup and it drastically affects what they can do. And then we make that one little adjustment and it's, oh, yeah, everything works correctly. And it really is that important, that small of a thing, right?
It
So
really is.
it's next level again,
And
next level. Hey,
it's the
go ahead.
comfort level also. There's a comfort level that gives you a confidence level. If you go to the rodeo and you walk around like some of these amateur rodeos, I'll bet you 3 out of 4 of these bronc riders have a pad they shove down in their boot right here because this buckle's getting them every time. And they don't
Yep.
know that they can get one of these and adjust that to be comfortable to their foot. But I bet you'll find 3 or 4 guys that have a pad shoved in there just because every person is so different. How you bend, how stiff are your ankles, the whole thing. And you can't just get that comfortable and you can't get that kind of contact with the exact same product on every single person. You just can't do it. You have to have these variables and these options.
Everything that you're mentioning, it makes me think, when you go play golf, everyone's kind of got that one club that they can pull out of their bag that they hit really well. And everything else they kind of look at and they're like, damn, I wish it was, I wish we were at 150 yards and I could hit my pitching wedge here. Everything you mentioned is giving you the entire bag of the clubs that you can grab, right? And so it's imperative if you want to be successful in the sport, you've got to invest in the equipment and then do your research and look. And it doesn't take that long to research because there's not that many options out there, y'all. But Beastmaster is doing
us.
the most.
Yeah,
and that's the best part is the customer service. Yeah, you guys will be there to answer questions and work with everybody that's buying custom orders or even stock orders, whatever it is. Something I really want to chat with you, Tim, about is, and I think I'm okay to mention this, but the Frost Legacy line that's coming out.
Not coming out. That baby's finally out.
Say that again.
I said it's not coming out. It's finally out.
Finally out. Well, you guys have been working on this for a.
Yeah. Do we have some about the Frost Spurs? Yeah. Behind. So that stuff has taken off really well. The Frost Legacy line. Yeah, the Frost Legacy line. I guess the one thing I want people to know about the Frost Legacy line is that the Frost is Joe and Josh.
Plural. Yeah.
That line is not just hand chosen. They made us change shit. Like, hey, we got to change it.
Well, it's hand designed.
Yeah, and little things, and I love that the littles are what make a difference. A lot of littles make a big difference. And how exciting was it for us to be able to work with guys like Josh and Joe? I mean, come on, it's kind of hard to describe, when you're going along and you have those doubts that do come, and everybody has them. To have those guys there that can answer that question for sure, for a fact, no questions asked. You've asked the right guy. That just raises your confidence so high in manufacturing this type of equipment, So I got to give a shout out to them. They have been outstanding. They take their time. They're meticulous. If they approve the product, let me tell you, they didn't do it on a whim. They literally studied it and had to get it figured out. They're a big part of it. You have shots?
It's created for rodeo athletes, but the most important part is by rodeo athletes.
Yes.
And
Really.
I've been there and do it every single day.
Yeah.
You can't replace it. It's awesome. So I know that's giving those younger guys such an opportunity to ride with the best gear that is available to anyone.
Yeah. It's just crucial, and getting to work with other people and getting other people's opinions to conglomerate and come up with these really good products has been great. One of our sayings around here is you can't be your own counsel. You'll just go in a circle, So we're constantly, we get something going, no matter how crazy the idea, we're like, hey, who could help us with that? Oh, I know. And you call somebody up and say, hey, I'm sending you something, things like that we do all the time. because yeah, you don't want to be your own counsel. That's for sure.
I just saw him pick up a pair of shaps, and he looked like he could have picked him up with one finger. Are those really light shaps or what?
Yeah. The new, oh, where's the,
The feather lights.
yeah, the new light. Listen, just, the feather lights, yeah, you know, the light shaft is such a funny thing because some guys, that's what they want. And other guys want complete opposite. Well, the problem was we didn't have anything for the guy who wanted it. We've had good stout shafts forever and ever and ever, you know. So coming out with the ultralights, we feel like, you know, it's finally for those guys that like it that way and want that, they finally have a choice, is what that comes down to. And it's quite a few. I'm not sure why it took us so long to recognize it, to be honest. I mean, people have been telling us, hey, do you have them lighter? They've been telling us that for 10 years. But you know, sometimes you're tied into other things and not really thinking, but it probably should have happened 10 years ago. Literally.
What about I see some of the? I think you got new yokes and billets as well.
We do.
Go ahead.
The billets. Do we have my, well, we have them out right now. Oh, the new ones are coming. Yeah. No, the yokes and billets, the new designs are coming. You're talking about these two pieces here.
I
Yeah.
wonder what the change up was. What was the
Yeah, there's two new ones coming out. Honestly, I told Julie that this is your baby. You get a pick. I'll be honest with you, I haven't seen it yet. She
awesome?
gets to design it. She makes almost every pair of shafts we have. And if she doesn't, she oversees every pair made. So yeah, I left it up to her. And every time she's done something unique, it's been really cool. I'm kind of with you guys on that one. I haven't got to see it yet.
We'll be looking out for that.
Yeah.
I want to switch gears,
Okay.
and as always, we just stay talking about Roughstock because that's who we are. But
Yeah.
you guys do some really cool stuff for the other side of the arena and just the arena in general. And you
Yeah.
and I were chatting on the phone the other day, and you were telling me about the arena markers.
Yes.
And I was like, dude, that is ingenious and just makes it so much. Every rodeo dad that your kids
Yes.
doing time.
This thing is so simple too. It's literally so simple. I've got about 20 of these stabbed in my arena that I've been disking over for about a month. So I have these things sticking up in my arena everywhere right now because I'm trying to torture them. How simple is it? It's a couple chain links and a spike. You bury this in the ground about 6 inches. These stick out and you can just disc them. You can plow them. You can do anything that nothing affects them. So you don't pull it out of the ground, have to get the tape measure out. Where do we set the barrel? Where's the goat stake? You know, the game. So these are really cool. These are going to be on the internet literally in probably a week, because we think we've got this thing nailed down where we want it. Once again, you guys didn't know, and I didn't know how many different types of weed eater string there is. You know, there is. Trust me, there's way more than you think because we've
I can
bought
only
and
imagine.
cut about every one you can think of. We wanted to make sure we got a good product. So yeah, I didn't know either. I'm like, yeah, let's just get some weed eater string. Well, like, well, what kind? I said, what do you mean what kind? Well, what thickness?
Yeah.
What shape? What size? What? I'm like, oh, stop. What are we saying here? There must be 50 different weed eater strings. So, yeah.
Every idea comes with a rabbit hole.
Right. What? How much time we got?
We got a few more minutes, but hey, what about you? Also, we talked about the reach, the hook to pick ropes up off the ground.
Give me the hook. Where's the handy hook?
I love that all most of this is just like you doing the
Me.
thing and being like, man, this would be so much easier if I had this. And he just goes and makes it. It's awesome.
My horse, I trained a new head horse. He's 16'1". I'm 5'5". So you can imagine what this looks like when I have to get my rope, right? It's kind of like the shin
He
guard.
carries a step stool around. Yeah.
Some of this stuff is made for me, you know.
I love
This
it.
thing right here, this is the case that can be put about 3 or 4 different spots on your saddle, the way we have it designed.
This thing's expandable.
It's expandable.
What?
Wrong one.
All the way expandable?
This,
Like, who thinks of that besides Tim?
yeah, me.
Yeah.
So I have, let me get another one. Go back and grab that other one back there. This is the one that Peggy Taylor type situation is. But I have this thing I'm hoping will be on the market in the next, before Black Friday type stuff. That's our goal
Sweet.
on this product. This has been a long evolution also, but it was long because it was like I'd start it and then I start doing something else. And then I'd go back to it and I'd go do something else. And so it's never made it to the top of the heap. And then finally we're like, okay, you can't just sit here and work on this for 9 years. The little phrase around here is at some point in the evolution of every product, you need to shoot the engineer and begin production. Well, that's about where we were on this deal. It was time to shoot the engineer and begin production. This is the newer one, the Beastmaster one right here. So yeah, this will telescope out.
Oh yeah.
Lets you scoop up hats and ropes and anything you want. I wear mine on my back strap of my saddle. But a couple of the judges that I've given these to, they actually hang it on the front of their saddle. That's where they want it. But yeah, this is finally going to hit the market. Finally. I say that because it's been.
I'm thinking of so many uses for that thing right
I
now.
know.
Like literally anybody that rides a horse,
Yeah.
like no matter what you do on your horse,
Or better,
you
yeah.
probably could use one
Anybody
of those.
in a pickup truck. Because there's nothing I hate worse than on
Yeah.
the back of my pickup truck. You know, I mean, you can do
That's actually
anything with
not a
this
bad
thing.
idea.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll probably sell more of them for the back of the pickup truck than I will for a horse, which is okay. I
that's
don't mind
awesome.
that, you know.
Heck no. Heck no. What do you have to, we're going to wrap this up. So I just want you to, anything else that you really wanted to let people know about? You know, Black Friday
Yeah.
is coming up, so be on the
I wanna
lookout
show-
for,
I want to show the new hat colors because they're super cool. So, you know, we've had a lot of success with our arena. Can you guys see this?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we've had a lot of success with this arena hat. You know, with this hat, we picked the felt, we'll pick the maker type thing. You know, we don't actually make the hat, but we're involved all the way from the felt all the way through the making of the hat. And I'm very convinced that dollar for dollar, this is the best quality you can buy. Dollar for dollar. I mean, yeah, you can buy more expensive hats. You know, our little saying around here is you don't wear your dancing hats to the rodeo. These are for rodeo. They're made a little bit thicker, they're tougher, they're stronger. This is our new color line that's coming out in a week or two here before Black Friday. So we're pretty excited about that.
and the price point is much different than your average felt, which is,
It's way
if you're a rodeo athlete, you don't wear your dancing hat to the rodeo because it's going to get messed up and dirty real
Gonna
quick.
get
And so,
wrecked really fast.
yeah, totally wrecked. Absolutely.
Yeah. So we're having a lot of success with this hat. We're really happy with how that's going. Yeah.
Man, that's cool. So
Yeah.
cool. So many different, you guys are, like I said, not just changing the game for rodeo, but changing the entire Western world with your ideas.
Yeah.
It's,
not just mine, but you're right. I'm willing
a
to
lot
do
of them
it.
are.
Yeah. I'm
Yeah,
willing
that's the
to
thing.
do it. Yeah. I get ideas from people all the time, every day. And, you know, I'm not too proud to take those ideas either. I'll literally go do it. So, yeah, it's
That's
exciting.
awesome. Where can everybody find out more about Beastmaster?
Beastmasterrodeo.com is your number one starting point right there. You know, follow us on the Instagram, follow us on Facebook and Twitter and all the areas there. You get to see me doing commercials that are not really what I meant to do in this world, but I do them anyhow. They're kind of fun. You might want to enjoy that. So get on those and get following us. That's how you know what's coming out, what's new. You can put your own comments in. When you see new products, give us your opinion on it, what you like, what you don't like. We're trying to engage everybody, you know, every level of rider. So that's kind of our goal. Raise the standards.
Absolutely. And you guys are doing just that. It's been an absolute pleasure to have you on today, brother. And like Tim said, you can check out Beastmaster at beastmasterrodeo.com. Check out all the new gear they have coming up. Like you said, this will be out within the next couple of weeks. So stay tuned and be on the lookout for the Black Friday deals that are coming out.
Yeah.
Until next time, we'll catch you later.
Guys, thank you guys. I really appreciate your time today.
Bet, brother.
Thank you, Tim.
Hey guys, we got some exciting news for you. If you're listening to this, we know that you're committed to upping your game in the arena. And we're teaming up with the Rodeo Now app to help you do just that. The Rodeo Now app allows you to record, upload, and catalog your rides and runs, review your performances in slow motion, and our favorite feature, if you're not familiar with your stock draw, you can search your animal by name to get all the intel you need to make your next ride a winning one. Join the rodeo revolution today and download the Rodeo Now app for free. It's available in the Apple App Store and Google Play Store. If you want to learn more about our coaches and program options, make sure to swing over to our website at www.championlivingfitness.com. You can fill out the Become an Athlete form to set up your free consultation and have all your questions answered by a coach.